Slacktail Squad, assemble.
Happy Thanksgiving. Oh wait, that's already over. It's past. This is the Beaveman. This is the Slaptail Squad. And if you're listening, you're a member of the great Slaptail Nation. And I am your Lord and Savior, master of my universe, creator of all things great and small. Great, like the first tier of my abs, because I don't have a six-pack. I got a 4. So just great like that first tier.
Well, I love the hallelujah.
What up, Ronz? You're ruining the introduction.
Why are you small?
He didn't get his squeaking out of the way yet.
Small, like the Ronz's attention span. So he did give me something. Thanks, Ronz.
As usual, you are
And
welcome.
thanks for joining us, Fuzzy Ronz.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And how are you doing today, Ronz?
Tired.
Joining me.
Okay, joining us.
Is it Dickhead Ronz today?
Is the Ronz.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I said joining me is the Ronz.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey.
That was kind of weak.
Also with us is the Swan, and she's in what we will now refer to as the Swan's Nest.
Why do I get a nest? I want
Why
a
not?
den.
Yeah.
I want a den too.
Swans don't have a den.
I guess I could if I'm the swan, but I'm also a beaver. So
True.
I'm a swan beaver.
I guess.
A beaver swan.
Yeah.
Actually, a beaver swan would be kind of badass.
It
A swan
might be.
beaver, not so much. But if you were a beaver swan, you just had a freaking giant neck and a beaver head at the end, and then a giant tail and a freaking awesome swan wingspan,
That would be so cool.
you'd be fucking kicking ass.
Yeah.
I hate to be a downer, B-Man, but I am not seeing my sound bar go up and down.
We can hear you. Your sound
We
bar
can
is
hear you
going
just
up and
fine,
down.
and your sound bar is quite large, unlike your penis.
Oh, my
Hi-yo.
goodness. Thank you.
Hi-yo.
Hey-o. There we go.
It's an elbow.
There we go.
It's an elbow off the top rope. And also with us is Tromondae.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
So
Aw.
eloquent.
Yes.
So
fancy.
genteel. So
Isn't he eloquent?
Try to be.
And as we agreed last time, several weeks ago, Ronz, you'll remember this, and you will also, Tromondae and Swan, that we all agreed that when we got together, we would have plenty of time to prepare, and we would all do our 2 minutes of comedy. Now, Ronz did his last week, and Tromondae, because you've had the most time, and because I'm going to bat cleanup, because I'm pretty sure mine is pretty fucking sweet, you're going first.
2 minutes of comedy?
Yeah,
Stand
remember?
up.
We
Your
all agreed
routine.
to do
Stand
2
up.
minutes.
Come on. You
I
got
don't
this.
remember us talking about this.
You don't
You
remember.
did. You agreed. You
You were
Also,
full
you
on-
don't remember also me going on about how different comedians and the B-Man goes, oh, there he goes, back into the past, behind the scenes. You don't remember any of that.
his list that he rattled off.
So I remember us talking about comedians, but I don't remember us saying that we were going to do 2 minutes of stand
Oh, there you go.
You were
Not remembering
Man,
anything.
So excited. You were so excited, Tremonde. You don't remember?
You guys, you're pulling my leg right now.
See, you know what, Ronz?
No.
See, you remember, Ronz, how I told you the Jedi-mind trick works on the minds of those who are susceptible, in other words, dumb people, and you fell for it, and you did your 2 minutes of comedy last week, but the Tremonde's like, that didn't fucking happen.
No. He said he doesn't remember it happening.
No, he just
You
said you
always
guys
had
are
him
pulling my leg.
convinced.
He just said you guys are pulling my leg
No,
right now.
he said you guys have to be. You had
Yeah.
him convinced almost, but you're
No.
the one that screwed it up.
No, he
no.
was not convinced.
He
You
wasn't
know what?
falling for it.
No.
Whatever. It's your world, so we got to believe in it.
Tremonde, Ron believed us, and he did his. He did his.
He did.
I'm sorry.
He had
You just get up
one-
for work. You're tired.
He had
Had one
one
joke.
Whatever.
funny joke out of it.
What?
mean,
I
I
had
give him-
more to go on, but
No, you
The rest of
didn't.
it was
Don't
just him
lie.
complaining. Right?
Yeah,
it, was just,
yeah.
it was just him complaining.
you ever notice toast?
If you,
What happens to the bread?
Yeah, if it was Ronz was doing long form comedy, so hopefully somewhere along the way it would have got interesting. But no, it was not great. But in honor of the Ronz, I did write a sketch.
Ooh.
Oh,
And so I will do it for you guys. I don't know if it's 2 minutes. It might be longer. It might be slightly less. Pacing is what's important, which I don't know. I don't understand pacing. So what I'm going to do, though, is Tromondae, you're going to bring me in just like in a comedy club. We're going to have applause because, you have to say something about the audience's applause, I guess. I don't know.
no, you do. You
things.
have to have a hype guy or a warm up guy that brings you in.
Yeah, that would be Tromondae. He's going to bring me in, and then I'm going to do my routine. And then, Swan, if you want, you can time my routine just to see how long it is.
Okay.
Can I get my pacing now? I didn't memorize it, though, so I'm going to read it. I apologize for that.
That's cool.
If you didn't tell us you didn't memorize it, no one have even known. So why
I
don't
love
you
how
just pretend like
serious
you
her
remember
face
it?
just got.
Yeah, just calm down, Swan.
I'm
Read
getting
it
a
in
little
just a
excited
little
about it.
bit.
I don't know. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead,
All right,
Tromondae.
Tromondae's gonna bring me in.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Slap Tail Comedy Show.
Hi-oh, yeah. Woo.
Coming to the stage is another one of our favorite comedians. He is here every single fucking week.
Thank you,
clap
but
loud
let's
enough-
introduce the Beaveman.
Shut up, Ronz. You're ruining the routine.
He does it every time.
Wait a minute. Isn't that what a heckler does?
No.
If
But
you
you don't
heckle
have
my
to be.
routine, I will fucking kill you. I'm just telling you right now. Let me get out my sketch, asshole. Let him bring me up.
Yo, he ends every routine by taking off his shirt, and he shows us those 4 amazing abs. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the Beaveman himself.
Yeah, Beaveman.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you all for your guarded optimism. So I'm noticing that my mind takes me to some interesting places, like short little adventures through a mindscape. And I don't think it has anything to do with my age. I think it's just me. And so please join me on a little adventure. I don't speak a foreign language, so I've been trying, rather unsuccessfully, to learn Spanish. So I have like an app on my phone. So I'm doing my lesson. And one of the phrases was, I'm a little sad. And there was an image of this little girl looking out a window, and it was raining. And I was like, oh, man, that poor kid. I wonder why she's so sad. I bet she's like waiting for her dad. He left her mom like 6 months ago. Piece of shit. Left her for some gas station clerk who's 15 years younger than him. Her and her stupid neck tattoo and pierced eyebrow. Nice smock, whore. P.S. My mom said my dad has herpes.
Hey.
Man, you know what? Things are going to get better. Hang in there, kiddo. But then I was like, dude, it's a picture of a child model doing what they were supposed to do for this modeling gig. It isn't an actual sad little girl. What are you thinking? So now I'm like angry with myself for being such a moron. But I'm a man, see? So then I'm like, fuck you, kid. You aren't sad. You're just some stupid model, and I hope all your child modeling gigs are stupid, and your career never goes anywhere, and I bet you end up doing porn. But then I was thinking, man, her life really took a dark turn. I hope she turns it around. Maybe find someone who makes her happy, helps her get out of the biz, the biz. Get some therapy and really love herself for who she is. Maybe write a book. I don't know. Call it From Babble to Porn and Back Again. I don't know. Just something like that. It's a work in progress. It's just a title that her publisher's been kicking around. What about that guy? He's a real piece of fucking work. Got a grandma Coke a day habit, 2 kids in college, and you know that his oldest son, Tommy, is never going to amount to shit. Him and his stupid liberal arts degree living in the village. What's that shit about? He's just a publisher, Tommy. He isn't pulling down the big bucks. Open your fucking eyes. He can't afford your stupid college, especially with that Coke habit. He probably can't even get it up anymore. He can't put it to your mom anymore. He can't plow her the way she wants to be plowed. That poor guy, his life was so simple before. Now look at him. 52 years old. Some book by some former child model who became a porn star. Fuck. Man. Now I'm a little sad. Estoy un poco triste. Oh shit, I did learn something. That's it. That's my time. I'm the Beaveman. Thank you guys.
You're a little sad. Good job. Good job. That was 3 minutes of comedy with the Beaveman. But you did good. 3 minutes. Not too bad. That's what your brain thinks about when you're doing your babble. That's crazy. Like,
It's comedy, Swan. See, I don't know if you guys know this. The Swan doesn't understand comedy. She doesn't understand how to write comedy, how to come up with an original thought. Ronz, your thoughts, because I do. Ronz likes comedy.
Yeah, I like comedy. That was more surreal than anything in how you drew something from a simple picture and took us on that journey. So that's more of a surreal comedy routine. And when
you just want me to do one-liners?
No. Rodney Dangerfield was the king of the one-liners. I don't think anybody can follow in his footsteps.
Here we go.
And then, of course, there was Bubba Sanchez. You'll remember him. He was that hillbilly who was from Guatemala.
However, when you listen to the surrealism of it, it's great. Great. Yeah, it needs a little bit more fleshed out because you added a lot of I don't think you added enough inflection where it should have been. It was like it went from this kind of subtle to I was angry over the entire routine, and then it kind of came in.
Well,
right?
maybe anger is his comedy tape.
No, well,
He's
Sam
an
Kinison.
angry comic.
No. Sam Kinison was the surreal comic. He would talk, get angry, and then come down. He would talk, get angry, and come down. He would bring the audience back in. Right?
He would talk.
So be it.
He would
and then he would get angry.
And then he'll come down.
Yeah. Have you ever watched any of his routines?
That's a trifecta. So
Yeah.
Could you explain it to us again?
Like a ladder.
One more time.
Like up the ladder,
How-
down the ladder.
How would that occur exactly again?
He was, if you know anything about Sam Kinison, he was one of my favorite comedians, was
I know
a
he would
preacher.
get angry.
And then he would
And
bring
he
the
would,
crowd
yeah.
up
Well,
and then back down.
the thing is, the way he did it was he'd use his like preacher voice. He would address the crowd. I did say marriage, and he would go into a marriage that's kind of subtle, and then he would get angry, and then he would come back down and bring the audience
Is that
back
what
down. You
works?
got to watch his routine. If you think I'm wrong, and I know you're making fun of me,
No, we're not. We want to be on your journey, Ron.
No.
but when you
could,
watch Sam Kinison do it,
I didn't. Let me grab a pen so I can write those three things down so that I know when I write my routine.
now one of the
He
most
would talk first. He would what?
Talk.
First he would talk.
And then he would
Yeah.
get angry.
Then he would get angry.
And they would bring
then
it back down.
And he'd bring it down.
yeah.
But through all that, was he talking still
He was.
when he got angry and when he would brought it back down? Was he
He
still
was
talking
always
the
on.
whole time?
He was still on the same subject. I see where you're going with that.
Some
You're
people, was he
making fun
talking
of
the whole
that.
time?
He was.
Was he still talking?
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
Another comedian.
Maybe
who's
that
a dead,
first part should be something different other than he would talk.
Yeah, because
There
he,
are
was-
two-
he was talking, and then he was talking angrily, and then he brought them
My
back
God,
down
I
by
didn't
talking.
realize this was an English class. Another. I can't think of
Well,
it.
it's just that we assume that he isn't talking the whole time because first step, what we all
Well,
understand.
Teller, a Penn and Teller, if that's the silent one, doesn't talk, and he still conveys his message a
But
lot.
he's doing a routine with someone who does talk.
Most of the time, yes.
Is it
No,
like
you're right.
Ronz wants to see mime comedy?
He wants to see mime. Exactly, I was going to say that too. I was like, he wants mime comedy.
A Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin wasn't a mime. You're talking
Are you
about Marcel.
fisting someone, or are you pulling back an arrow there?
No, that's like this. This is.
Well, anyway, the dead band comedians, like, who is it? Stephen Wright
I don't know. We could probably move on, Raz. It's okay.
and
You know,
Mitch
I-
Hallberg
We can move on.
were really
now.
good.
We
Anyway,
don't need to hear your list of comedians, Ronz. We've heard that last
I really-
podcast.
Yeah, I just actually
Okay,
was just
whatever.
asking if I was just actually asking if you thought it was remotely funny. That was really all.
there
I
were a
was
few
asking.
tidbits that were funny.
Like
it
how
was
she
surreal.
became a
All right.
porn star because she was sad about her.
What if Ronz didn't get that it was all just my mind wandering?
He's like, that poor little girl.
What if Ronz is also sad now? He's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna pick up that book.
Going to be the conversation at dinner tonight.
How not to be a porn
He's
star
like,
by reading
no.
a book.
He's gonna be like, little powder donut. Have you heard about this book about this girl?
About this little child model.
She grew up to be a porn star, and then she wrote a book and turned her life around. She met the man of her dreams, got some therapy.
So most company is subjective, but it's no. Hear me out. But it's also based on people you know. Who is your comedy routine based on? Even remotely.
What do you mean?
Based it on his Spanish app. A little picture of a little girl.
I think
Okay,
he's asking.
but
That
Yeah,
was funny.
Who was the whole roundabout getting mad, bringing it back down story about?
Well, was it based also not only on the app of the little girl, but was that little girl based on someone you know personally?
He hangs, his porn star friends, his whole entourage of porn
what
friends.
Ronz is saying is that writers write about what they know. Comedians try to write about what they know.
Exactly.
And it wasn't, and I was writing about what I know, which is how my mind wanders when I see things. That was, so it doesn't have to be based in truth or reality.
Yeah.
It's my truth and reality.
Because you are the master of the universe. Yeah, you are
His
right.
universe.
Now, if you said, if you said what comedians is my style based on, that's a different question. And that I don't have an answer to because unfortunately I don't remember comedians' names. But I don't think I could do comedy without getting slightly frustrated. And it's not like I'm angry and I would be this angry comic, but that's just how my mind thinks. Especially when I'm sitting there going, what's that?
What would you get frustrated about?
Oh, I don't. Well, okay. So this is when Ronz is talking about you do your comedy based on reality or what your writing style is. When I was looking at that app, you know how you can't control your thought process or what you see past like a 16th of a second. That first 16th, you can't change your reaction. It's just that's how our brain works. It's very synapses fire, quick transmission. When I saw that picture, I was like, oh. I literally, the first thing was like, oh, that poor kid. And then I'm like, dumbass, this is a model. So, I mean, so that's my truth there, Ron. So if you're asking, I don't have to know somebody who went into porn and wrote a book.
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying. I did the same thing about a week ago. I was
at a little girl in a window.
I was actually eating.
Looking through a window at a little girl in the rain.
Yeah, that's it.
No, I won't creep out. No, I was eating a donut. Right? I was looking for the world's best donut. Right? Whoa! I like that. Where that went.
Powdered sugar all over your face when you were done?
No, I did not. However, some music came on.
Donuts better.
However, some music came on. It was a very sad, melancholy music, and I started to go off on this routine about it was just a donut. My God, why did it have to sacrifice its life for me to eat it? It was just a donut. Why do I feel so guilty? It could have lived another life. And like you said, the moment takes you in that 1/16th of a second. Where does it take you?
Yeah, to me that's funny.
You? Yeah,
to me that's funny.
And
especially if people don't think that way. Well, not especially, because you can appeal to two different types of people. One, you can appeal to people that are like, I do shit like that. Or you appeal to people who don't do stuff like that and they're like, where the fuck is this guy's mind go?
Yeah.
I agree. I agree because I do that all the time. Like yesterday I went shopping for a fridge.
Yours is the dementia. Yours is the dementia and your lack of train of thought.
Is it okay if I ask the other two their opinion on the count? If now that you've talked for 15 minutes, would it be okay if the other two just briefly talk about it so that we can move on to some other things? Is that okay?
I think it was pretty funny because that's the way your brain thinks for sure. And you could see that you were getting ramped up about it. And that's why it appears angry, because your thoughts process so fast that you're like thinking all these things that tangent off on. And then you had to bring it back down to that little girl. So yours, I can see where your brain goes with that. So that's why it's funny. because you do that all the time, like on
Yeah.
stupid stuff. It could just be one random thing, your word, like your random word thing that you say over and over and over again, and then it tangents off to something else. But you do get ramped up because you get excited about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and some of your lines like about like the learning Spanish on the app, like those moments were like hilarious. And I can see what you're saying, like as far as timing, because like there were moments when like I was like, oh, you're in a really good like rhythm of like speaking and telling your jokes. And then I can see where you kind of like veered off from that a little bit. But you have it in you, because it showed up definitely throughout your comedy sketch.
Thanks for keeping it brief, guys. Ron went on for about 15 minutes.
So-
And he has
question,
more
though, for the Beaveman. I really do. I have a question for you, Beaveman.
It's not your turn to talk, Ronz. it's our
God.
turn. Tremondae
Now,
and
usually
have
what-
the microphone now.
Usually what happens is the guests will say something, and then the host might comment on what they say. There's this little banter that goes back and forth. But now Ronz is raising his hands because he has something to say. Look at him. He was able to utilize the resources on the app, and now the panel recognizes the Ronz.
Go ahead, Ronz.
Thank you. So,
Okay, go. Just please go
Are
ahead.
you more funnier when you write
More
alone
funnier.
or when you practice your routine on us? What do you think?
He cracks himself up, so clearly he thinks he's funny all the time.
Well, Swan, I love your ventriloquism, how you threw your voice over to speak for him. That was awesome. So we're going to let the B-Man speak for himself this time. And you don't have to throw your voice. Let's let him speak.
No, so you mean like if I'm sitting here writing, is it funny are you asking it, do I think it's funny when I'm writing it? Do you I read out loud, I'm like, oh, that's funny.
Going back a couple of weeks earlier, I should say, you said that we talk in strange voices, like when you say a certain word like Tromondae, and you'll repeat that word over and over.
Yeah,
just because
you can make it you can make it all like Zoro, like Zoro.
So
Spanish.
when you write, do you write like that? You go, I see a little girl, right? And you're trying to speak it in Spanish, right? Or you're trying to speak it.
So you're saying, do I like footnote stuff? Yeah, if I had time, I actually would footnote stuff. But I actually wrote this really pretty quickly, and then I was gonna memorize it, and then I didn't because I was busy working. So,
but do you think that you really even have to memorize it? Because I'm pretty sure your brain will go off on something, and it may not be the original thought that you had, but I'm pretty sure that you could continue it on without memorizing it.
well, Ronz will back me up on this. When comedians do routines, they're supposed to time it. So they might say, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So you have to have a routine for 30 seconds. You have to have a routine for 2 minutes. You have to have a routine for 3 minutes. You have to have a routine for 5, for 10, for 15, for 20. And so you're trying to time it out, and that's why you're supposed to rehearse
Yeah, but
it.
I think when you're good at it, they know their time and they know how to bring it back down in a timely
yes and
fashion.
no. If they're really good at it, nobody calls them on time. They can get up there and do as long as they want, but that's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they're selling sold out shows, they can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
Now the other thing to master is the heckler. Did you ever see there was a comedy reality show?
Nobody cares about that.
Yeah, but there was a
I was
comedy
trying to answer
reality
your
show.
question, but you notice that when I try to answer your question, now you go off on another tangent. Did you want the answer to my question?
Yes.
Well, I liked your answer.
But you asked a 2-part question.
He forgot that part already.
Well, no, it kind of leads into the next part. Actually, the 2-part actually leads into the next part. This is
parts 1 and 2 of a 24-part question.
Of course it is. Now, the thing is, when you're dealing with a crowd and your routine of 2 to 3 minutes, the one thing you didn't factor in is how do you deal with hecklers?
I didn't factor that in because there's 3 of us, and if you're going to heckle me for us to do a 2-minute routine, you're a total douchebag.
Oh, wait a minute, like you did me last week? Shut up, Swan. You were on a roll.
I told Swan to shut up because she was commenting during your routine, and I told her to shut up. That's the point.
I feel like
we're trying to do 2 minutes of comedy between us.
I feel like if you're a good comic, you don't get heckled.
Yeah, and a lot of if you listen to comedy stations all the time, which is what I do in the car. Thankfully, I don't have to drive that much anymore. But a lot of them handle it differently. A lot of them will just stop what they're doing and be like, "Can you shut the fuck up? I'm doing a comedy routine."
Like, you're not being paid to be up here. Shut up.
Nobody's paying to hear you fucking talk. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And some of them will engage them, but most of them, 9 times out of 10, you'll hear them just stop what they're doing and be like, shut the fuck up. Even the women will do that, which is hilarious. So I don't think most people will engage. If they're going to engage, some of them make their whole routine is engaging the audience. If you listen to, what's his name? Oh God, he has his own radio show. Him and this other guy. Anyway, he's almost his entire routine. He's just engaging the audience, and not meanly. He just says funny shit. So some people just work the crowd. That's their comedy. But hecklers are different. I don't think that I would have to. One, I'm never going to do stand-up comedy. So if you're going to be obnoxious and heckle me while I'm doing 2 minutes on our show, Ronz, then I'm just going to put you on silence anyway.
I just turn your microphone off.
I'll just turn your microphone off.
There you go.
That answers that question.
It does.
But I believe the part of the question you were asking was, if I understand it correctly, but now I don't know because you asked it so long ago and you wouldn't shut up while I'm trying to answer it, was, do I think it's funny when I'm writing it, or is it funnier while I'm doing it for you guys? And does it change at all, maybe? Yeah, because it's not a full-on, written, perfectly annotated, rehearsed bit. But yeah, obviously it's going to be, I'm going to add in more natural language as I'm speaking it than when I write it. That's the problem. You have to read it over and over again and say, would I say it this way? Is this how it flows? Are there words that I can add in? Which is what I would do later if I was to iron that out. Which I might actually iron that out. I don't know.
Well, and I think that you're, like, just from your writing that we've heard and what you do, you're, like, descriptive. So you can add descriptive filler as needed without it sounding messed up or interrupting the flow, because you add descriptive stuff easily.
Oh, it's Big J Ogerson. That's who it is.
Random. Random.
The guy who engages the crowd.
Yeah.
He's pretty funny. I mean, he has a very quick mind.
What is his name again?
Big J Ogerson.
Okay. Does he get angry?
Does he talk and then bring it up
and
get angry and then bring it back down?
He does talk, yeah. So anyway, just at a what is it, Ron?
I was going to say I like the way some.
It's your show,
but I really do like the way some of the comedians actually look forward to hecklers. No, do comedy, but they look forward to hecklers and putting them in their place.
Why are you fixated on hecklers? What is your thing? Do you want to go to a comedy
club and
be a heckler?
Thing. Yeah.
No, because when you do that, I want you to go on stage. I'll be your biggest fan, but knowing that someone's going to heckle you, I don't
think so, because have you ever been in a comedy club where there's a heckler? Have you ever been in one?
The crowd tells them to shut the fuck up.
The crowd tells them to shut the fuck up. I've been to a comedy club. Okay, so anytime I've ever been to a comedy club where somebody runs their mouth, everybody tells them to shut the fuck up, because you're there to see the comedian. You're not there to listen to drunk ass Bill over here who won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And they usually have people working the crowd also that will tell them to shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Because people paid to see the comedian. They didn't pay to hear you run your mouth.
Yeah.
They throw people out. They throw people out of comedy clubs.
Yeah, and some places, like, they're not, like, designed for that. Like, that's not how they function. Like, anybody can come in and they're all welcome. There are some places that, like, booing people is more appropriate just because, like, that's how the comedy club is set up.
Ronz watches comedy at Dick's Last Resort. He wants to be part of the experience.
Well, I watch a lot of comedy on YouTube. And whenever they say there's a heckler in the crowd, I kind of watch to see how they handle it. And
that's what he's fixated on.
Well, no,
I think that most comedians, I don't know, I mean, because I'm not a comedian, but I listen to a lot of podcasts. I mean, I listen to Mark Maron, and he interviews a lot of comedians, and it's just not something that they talk about, because clearly, at a point, it doesn't happen. And if it happens, usually those people get dealt with. And do you really? Yeah. And if you're a heckler, do you really want to take on a professional comedian? They're gonna make you look like shit.
Well, I realize that,
They're going to point out every flaw you've ever thought about.
And you're going to go home with less self-esteem than you already had.
They're going to bust on the people that you're with, or worse, if they're hot and you're not, they're going to rip on you for being with somebody who's as dumpy as you are. I mean, taking on a professional comedian seems like a really bad idea to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So I watched the King of Comedy again recently. And there was a part where like people were entering and exiting like during the show, and like Steve Harvey was up. They never got out of their seat again.
Oh yeah. What are you doing? What do you got to do? You got to do some blow in the bathroom
and just make them feel.
Yeah,
like
Robin Williams was famous for doing that too. Someone would get up, and I think Jeff Dunham does it too. They would get up.
Fascinating. Way too. That's what you call piggybacking. Piggybacking.
Piggybacking?
Yeah.
What's that? Piggybacking.
You're just piggybacking off of what Tremondae just said.
And you rattle off a few more names to go with it.
You just named a couple more comedians that also do it. Here's an idea. How about having an original thought?
See, there we go. That's the Beaveman handling the crowd. That's the man I want to see.
So right? You that's just there's how to deal with hecklers. Shut the fuck up, Ronz. He just told you.
So there's your crowd control. You got the Swan working the crowd control in a leopard onesie.
Here's an idea. When you can see your penis again over that giant gut of yours, then you can say something to me.
Is that all you got? Come on, let it flow.
I'm talking about you. Oh no, I got tons. If there's one thing that I learned this long before I ever joined the army, that I was very quick to insult people because people treated me like shit. So I might have been physically scared of them, but I could just tear somebody down very quickly. You could run your mouth
really well.
I could tear somebody down very quickly, and my mind thinks very quickly how to insult people. Because I'll do that. I'll just pick out every flaw you fucking have because I know that it bothers you. If I can see it, it bothers you. Yeah.
If I can see it, so you're just an asshole, and you're gonna point out Ronz's bad things. Okay, go ahead.
Oh no,
talking about Ronz. I was just talking
he was just talking about me. But
talking about Ronz in his gut. Ronz doesn't have a big gut. I'm just saying in general. And then
small penis.
Yeah, and then you really learn that craft when you're in the army because you could get into a lot of trouble for running your mouth, but if you were really respectful when you did it, then they're like, well, I can't really say anything. I mean, he was pretty respectful. He addressed me the proper way. He was at parade rest when he said it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So instead of when people would call me a smart ass when I was in the army, I would say, no, I'm not a smart ass. I'm a philosopher. There's a big difference.
I'm wondering how many push-ups you had to do being a philosopher.
I had to do a lot, but that's what I always said. I was like, I'm not a smart ass. I'm a philosopher. And what I would say was, you just don't understand my philosophy.
Take that.
That's a good point.
Take that. Touché, if you will.
I will. That's awesome.
All right. Well, can I ask you a question, Ronz?
Sure. Anything.
Did you watch that show that we had talked about a long time ago?
Star Wars, I did.
No.
And The Mandalorian, I thought it was great. Right. And
we believe that to be true.
Yes,
and I just watched the difference between adamantium, vibranium, and Beskar metals. That's a pretty good documentary. Which was
you have time to watch documentaries, but you didn't watch the.
Well, it was like a 3-minute clip.
Did you watch the assigned program?
Which was?
Oh my God, Ronz.
Well, you're going to tell me, aren't you?
Pose on Netflix. Did you watch it?
Let's say I did.
Did you, or did you just Google it last night?
He didn't.
Well, let's say I did. What's it about?
Why don't you tell us what it's about, Ron?
Yeah, why don't you tell us what it's about? Because I had some very specific questions I wanted to ask you, but now that you didn't watch it, we're just going to have this conversation.
We don't know that he didn't watch it. He hasn't admitted that he hasn't yet. He's giving us his roundabout answer that takes 5 minutes to get there.
Well, it's it's the non-conforming drag ball culture.
Is that what you're reading from Google right now?
Exactly what I'm reading from Google right now. Right. I watched probably the first half hour before I would fall asleep into it. Just because I was tired when I got off.
So be fair, was it? I think it's probably because he spanked off and he was really sleepy, and then he fell
extremely, yeah.
He tugged it. I do want to have this
Or
little
did.
distraction from my comments before, by the way. I was telling Tremonde that the lead lady who plays Elektra,
Hmm.
I was thinking that she was a really bad actress, and which really bothered me. I was like, is she really bad? But the Swan kept saying, like, no, I think she's supposed to talk that way. I think she's supposed to talk that way. So then I decided I was going to look her up, and I'm like, oh, she is supposed to talk that way. It's just that she's doing almost not quite well. She's almost doing like the elegant King's English type. It's because she's not from our country.
That's what I
That's
said.
why. That's why it doesn't sound supernatural. She's not supernatural. That's why it doesn't sound extremely natural. It's because she's more eloquent than we are, and I'm not used to hearing that in American television. So I apologize to you, ma'am. I don't know your name,
Elektra.
but you're tall. But you're tall, and you play Elektra on Pose, and so I apologize. And now you've actually become my favorite character out of everybody.
Really?
Yeah, she's my favorite.
Why is that?
Because I like it when she goes off. We just watched an episode where she goes off on these they go to the
Hoity-toity rich
beach.
people in the
They go to
Hamptons.
the beach, and is it that where they are?
I think
Is
it's
it
the
in
Hamptons or something like
I
that.
don't
Yeah,
know.
whatever.
Wherever they're somewhere, and they're wearing like their polo shirts and their
Culottes.
You know,
She's like
whatever.
something about your.
I don't even know what a culotte is, but whatever. But she goes
and
off
like
on them,
shorts,
and it's
but a skirt, but they're
but
really
she goes
ugly.
off of them. She goes off of them. She pauses, and they like hand her a cup of water, and she's got like her hand up, and she drinks the water. And then she just goes off some more. It was fucking hilarious.
Reasons for
I was like, oh,
fifth.
yeah, that's fucking hilarious. But since Ronz didn't ask the question, since Ronz didn't watch the show, and he's not going to be able to answer the question. So she's my favorite character now.
Yeah.
Who's
Her
your
name is
favorite,
Dominique.
Tremonde?
I think Dominique Jackson.
Is that who it is?
I believe-
she's. Yeah, I don't know. She's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Who's my favorite character?
Yeah.
Poppy.
Poppy's pretty cool.
I-
Yeah,
Poppy-
pretty cool.
And no, like if you were to watch Poppy as he grows throughout
Yeah,
the show,
Yeah.
like I fall more and more in love with him, and like he is just a beautiful person.
He's caring and cares more about others, and he like is getting his own self-esteem. So
yeah, he's
I think
super
that's good.
supportive. Because
Very.
even when he got ditched, he's like, "Hey, you got to do you," but he wasn't angry about it. Yeah, and he
Yeah.
was the first one to say he was going to take care of Blanca when she said that she had AIDS. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a good
Yeah.
character. Yeah, they
He
did a good
is.
job developing him.
he is, and he
See where he goes. There's only 2 seasons, right?
Actually, there's 3.
Actually,
Rob
Thank
has
you,
it on
Google.
Google.
thanks Google.
But yeah, that third season, like Poppy is just a
Oh, really?
gorgeous being.
Well, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
We're
for
not
us.
there
You
yet.
know, it's very hard to watch these things with the Swan because she starts to get anxious because she thinks the season's going to end or it's going to be all gone away, and instead of being excited that she saw a really good run of a television show, she gets all like
I get
mopey.
mad. Yeah, that it's over. Yeah.
I do. I do the same.
So
Yeah, but shows should only, but there's a sweet spot for how many seasons a show should have, and it varies on the show.
True.
Yeah,
You know,
I
like
guess
The
if
Office.
you
The Office, I love The Office and all the episodes and all the seasons it had, but I'm like, yeah, but you know, they ran too long.
I agree.
But I still love all the episodes, but there's, you know, as it gets later on and farther on down, I'm like, not so much, not so much. But Parks and Rec, I'm like, I think they ended Parks and Rec perfectly. I think that had enough seasons and enough shows. And even now I'd be like, man, I kind of wish they bring Parks and Rec back.
Same here. So, what show do you think ran too long? For
No. See, this is how he's diverting away from what we're
the
talking
fact that
about.
he didn't
No,
watch
no,
it.
no, no, no.
By the way,
No, I
in
did
that
not.
regard,
No,
because
no.
I just said that I thought The Office kind of ran too long.
Yeah, but what other show?
A
See,
lot
now,
of them.
to me,
See, you're diverting away from our
All right.
topic because you didn't do what we asked you to. So now you're trying to hone in on
All right.
it anyway. So
all right,
Tremonde,
fine.
let me
I'll
ask-
just keep quiet.
Tremonde, and I think I said this to you, Swan. I think I said, I was like, man, these girls are hot. And I was like, I kept going, I'm like, and some funny things too. I was sitting there going, I like, because I know that they were trying to make it in the time frame they were in, the era that they were in the 90s. I don't think most of them would have looked quite that good because we didn't have the science down very well. They were trying to get bootleg shit, and it wasn't very, very pure. Like now, if you wanted to help somebody transition to a different sex, and I used to help people do that, and the owner of where I worked, he was kind of shitty about it. Like you could tell it made him uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, I guarantee you, if you ran into these patients out in the world, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, a lot of them do a better job of taking care of how they look than most people do. I mean, proof of that is go walk into Walmart where everybody looks like shit. I'm like, they try really hard to look good. So there's only subtle things that you might notice, and only I notice them because I helped them transition.
Like if
And
you saw
otherwise, if you just saw him, you wouldn't know. You'd be like, oh, that girl's a little tall. Well, there's plenty of tall girls. Or oh, that guy's a little short, or whatever. You're not going to know. You won't know.
No. There's plenty of people that you wouldn't. Like if you saw from that show Angel walking down the street, you would not know that she's a transgender.
Yeah, and again, because she looks better than 70% of the women walking around.
Yeah. And that's one thing I appreciated about the show is that it was very authentic, that they use people who have actually lived this and not had people portray what it's like to be something different. Because then I don't think you get that honesty aspect of it. You're just getting a really good actor, and that's if they can act very good, So that's one of the things that I appreciate, that they had people who have actually lived and experienced this. And I was thinking, just speaking about like the makeup and how they look, and I'm thinking like the 80s is when all this was set, like how they showed up, especially like the women, like they presented themselves as a well put together woman. They weren't trying to be very dramatic with bold eyeshadows and all that. Like they want to present themselves as women,
not drag queens. Yeah,
not drag queens.
Yeah, there's a difference, which Ronz doesn't understand. I kept trying to tell him, there's a difference, right? They're not the same thing.
Yeah, drastically different.
You can talk, Ronz, if you have relevant conversation, as long as you don't take it to like a different.
Yeah, as long as you don't take it to a different subject, we will allow you to talk. Just raise your hand first. But here's the question that I don't think I asked. No, I know I didn't ask the Swan this, but I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask Swan and Tromondae. Which one do you think is the hottest? Or, and it's kind of funny because my question changes a little bit because I was going to ask Ron a totally different question, but because obviously I don't need to ask the question of, do you guys think that I think that any of them are attractive? So the better question is, which one do you think of the cast I think is the hottest?
Well, hottest physically or hottest because there's difference. I think you would pick Elektra because she's bossy and bitchy and she tells you what she wants, especially like her dominatrix type thing. So you would think that's hot. But physically hot, I think Angel's kind of hot. But I also think that you would think as a man, Poppy's hot because he's got his own little like thing. So it's a multi-part thing.
I didn't even think about the whole man aspect. Well, I mean, out of the male characters, of course, I'm going to pick Poppy. Duh.
Yeah. So
yeah, I would say Angel, just because she has like a little bit more of a
Latina
natural
vibe.
Yeah. But then Lulu also has a little bit of that as well. But I think that Lulu may be like the type of woman that is much more into like the hair and makeup, and I don't see you as like a person that needs or like someone like overly done up.
All right, well, let me change it then. Let me say, which one do you think that I am just animally, as an animal, find the most physically attractive? That hits all my check marks. They're thinking very hard, trying to decide how well they really know me.
I think I'll stick with. I don't know. I'll say Angel.
What about you, Swan? Still going with Elektra?
Yeah, I'm going with Elektra.
Tromondae was the closest. It's Lulu.
Really?
Yeah, Lulu hits all the right.
Well, I guess you want her.
Lulu's got a big butt. She has a big butt. She's got big boobs, and she wears short stuff, and she's always showing her legs. And she's not too tall. Elektra's too tall.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think you like her.
I like her personality. I like who would be the most fun to hang around with would be Electra, obviously.
Oh yeah.
I think they'd all be pretty fun.
You just sit there going, you would just be laughing your head off all the fucking time. If that was your friend, you're like, oh my God, she's hilarious. I can't do what she does, but that's fucking hilarious. Oh no. Yeah, all of them. You're like, oh, I'd like to hang out with all of them.
Yeah.
Except for, I don't think I would want to hang out with, I like his character, but I don't think I'd want to hang out with Pray Tell.
Yeah, he's kind of too much. He's too princessy. He's a diva.
Yeah, until he gets mad, and then you're like, okay, Pray Tell, you better be able to back your shit up.
Yeah, he's a little bitch. I think he's a little bitch in that aspect.
Slap fighting isn't going to work if Damon decides he wants to punch you in the face.
True.
But then Damon might break a nail, so that's probably not going to work either.
Yeah,
Ronz doesn't know what the fuck we're even talking about. He's just oh yeah. I can see where you would think that. How about you, Tromondae?
It doesn't take a genius to understand the plot of what you're talking about. I saw the pilot.
So you're saying
I saw the pilot.
So what you're saying is, Ronz, is that the concept and the writing is poor, and it doesn't take a genius to make the same sort of freaking television show. And you could do it. Is that what you're fucking saying?
No, I couldn't do it. However, I've seen the same concept throughout the years before.
Really? What show was like posed throughout the years before that you watched?
Back in the military, when I was up at Loring Air Force Base, they had a show on, and one of the master sergeants came in.
What's the name of the show?
I don't remember, but one of the master sergeants came in and goes, "Man, that woman is hot." And they all turned around and it's like, "Sarge, that's a man." And he says, I forgot it.
What year was this? This was in the 90s?
Early 90s.
There was a show on that had a transgender person in the 90s that was on regular network television on all the time.
Like a talk show.
What was that?
I forgot.
It
was over 30 years ago.
Did you say a talk show?
Or something like that. Yeah, it was over 30 years ago.
So that character wasn't a recurring character if it's a talk show. Are you talking about the one time when Arsenio Hall had a bunch of transgender folks on there that were in beauty contests?
No.
And they weren't transgenders. They were, if I remember correctly, they were drag queens. So
no, this was something else.
On a talk show, this is a recurring character.
It was that one show where the guy played like
from Canada. You don't know it.
Oh,
no,
gotcha.
You know that one show that was like he always wear. It was like an 80s show. And he's a famous actor, but he dressed up as a woman. You know what I'm talking about. It was like a drama.
No,
he lived next door to like the women, and he had
you're talking about Bosom Buddies?
Yeah.
That was a comedy show.
That was Tom Hanks and Peter Scolari, and they did not look like women.
I know. That's what I was like. That's what I was thinking. Ronz was thinking. He's like, yeah, she's a hot woman.
He's thinking that his sergeant walked in and said that, and he's like, yeah, those ladies were hot, but and their brothers looked just like them, except they were dudes. Like they were uncanny. They were so. How much they looked like each other was just uncanny.
Well, I mean, Ronz was in the Air Force.
True. Not very observant. Anyway, off of Ron's ridiculous comment, Tromondae, which one do you think is? Did you think any of them were attractive? Were you? I guess the better question is, were you attracted to any of them?
So, as a woman, like Lulu is like my kind of woman. Like I love the whole get up, the hair, the heels. Like very much so into that. Guys, I think Poppy is.
I was gonna say, if you say Damon, I'm gonna reach right through this freaking computer screen.
Damon's and then too girly, like he's too emotional.
And then there's another character that get introduced more later in the show, and his name is Christopher, and it's played by Jeremy Pope.
Yeah, we don't like Christopher.
Jeremy, why not?
Because
isn't he the one that Ricky gets with? Or is that a different guy? That's Chris.
Chris.
Isn't his name Chris?
The dancer guy?
Oh, so no. So that's what is his name? Ricky.
Ricky, yeah.
Yeah, Ricky cheats on Damon. Isn't the guy that he cheats on Damon with is Chris?
No. So Christopher, he shows up later. And he
another character.
is in a relationship with another character.
Okay.
But I won't say who that person is yet.
All right, I'll give it to myself.
But John and I, he's actually from Broadway, and John and I saw him in person. He was on Broadway for Ain't Too Proud. And so we took a picture with him. This was maybe like a couple years ago. And then shortly after, he ended that run with Broadway, and he started pursuing his work with Pose. So it was kind of sweet to say, oh, yeah, I've met that guy before.
Do you think that makes you somebody important because you met somebody who's famous, Tromondae?
Yeah, didn't we have a conversation about this one time?
As if you're like, yeah, when I knew him, he was a Broadway, but now he's on TV. And I think it's because he met me.
No, but I feel like Tromondae is not bragging there because people on Broadway want you to take their pictures with them. They want to be famous. So it wasn't like he was like, ooh, can I take my picture with you? That's like an okay thing.
Well, it's my understanding a lot of Broadway actors and actresses don't give a shit about TV. They really just want to do Broadway.
Yeah.
Because that's like, if you're in New York, apparently if you're in New York, your thing is to do theater. If you want to do something else, you got to get out of New York.
And there's a big difference between the two, like theater and
obviously
acting. Obviously,
but the people who are classically trained actors who learn, like the people that go to Juilliard and stuff like that learn all the different genres of acting, where they even learn things like sword fighting, which I think is kind of cool. They're all totally different. So they still do Broadway. I'll listen to, there you go, plugging Mark Maron again, but he interviews a lot of actors, and a lot of them that are classically trained actors that we've seen in the movies still do Broadway. They'll go do Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's bizarre.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Like they all want to do Shakespeare and all this other stuff. I'm like, it's interesting.
Probably because that means you're a real well-rounded actor, because you don't get multiple takes when you're on Broadway. You just have to know it and do it.
But how annoying would that be? You're doing Broadway for a year. You do like 4 or 5 shows a week for an entire year. Do you think you're really giving it your all every show you do? I think that would be terrible. I think that would be as mundane as a regular day-to-day job like Ronz is.
I don't know. It wouldn't be. I feel like if you like that, you would give it your all, just like bands do. They play the same songs over and over and over and over again, but they like
go that far.
Yeah,
I agree with the Swans. You look at Elton John. How
raise
he
your hand.
Oh, you can talk, Ronz. Go ahead, Elton John. Go ahead. Same show over and over and over.
Yeah, he does the same show, but he does it with flair, pizzazz. Him, Freddie Mercury and Rob Halford were one of the few gay performers out there that came out.
Why are we bringing up gay? Why did we have? Acting in general. Do they have to be gay?
In acting, you're right. You're totally right. But they come out and they put on a show. These 3 dudes, but they came out,
and they came out.
But Elton John puts on a hell of a show when you look at it.
One guy was gay and with a piano. The other guy was gay with a microphone.
Which guy you talking about?
No instrument. He didn't play anything. He had crazy overbite. The other guy?
Oh, which other guy?
Gay. I don't know.
Was he now? He had feathers.
But he was so well known that the Ronz knows who he is. And
I know everybody.
It's important for him to interrupt the show to talk about these 3 individuals who was gay.
You know why? Because they were over the top every time. And the Swan says, hey, you're not so good. You're just mediocre.
Why are you doing the same accent?
Yo.
Because when
the men are talking, when the men are talking, woman, you be quiet. There we go.
Yeah.
So
these 3 individuals. Go ahead. These 3 gay guys. I agree with you. They give it their all every time.
So every time.
I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on the parts that you did watch of the show.
He watched the opening credits where it said pose. The category
is.
No, the drama was real. Right? No, the actors that came across that, like you said, they had background experience in it. That came across in the tone and the inflection, right? So I was really taken aback by that.
We believe that to be true.
Hey, I like you. Let's keep it that way. The setting, because growing
He
up,
wants to
Looked
go
like New
behind the
York.
scenes.
no,
It
no,
looked like New
because
York, so I give them
no,
props for that.
because when you were growing up in the 80s and 90s, if you knew someone was gay, they were closeted, and here are these people trying to come out, trying to find their own way in life.
Hold on a second.
And
What makes just to clarify here, because I'm gonna hit
Yeah.
you with some. I'm gonna hit you with a perplexing question, Ronz.
by all means,
These transgender females,
I
Did you
know where
think
you're
they're-
going with this.
do you think they're gay?
I would like to think my thought process on that is, yeah, I think they're gay.
Ooh, you're wrong. So
Or no. You know,
Okay, go ahead.
You're probably right. You're
Well,
probably
this is-
right. My
This is
thought
the
process.
this is the misconception, and this is what this is where all the strife comes in for the community. Is that okay?
wait,
And
let
you're-
Ronz
you know-
explain it to us because he knows.
Whoa. No, I don't know. I really don't know the other half.
Okay, so
Right.
if you're
I don't know the transgenders that are trying to identify as a female. I don't know the transgender or anybody who struggled to identify themselves as gay. Right? I don't.
We believe
believe
that
that
to
to
be
be
true.
Well, I'm being serious here. I don't know their struggles.
Well, we're not trying to put you on the spot, Ronz. The point
No,
is
no,
this.
it's good that you do though, because
no,
it helps me understand a little bit better. Because I will not go around this world being blind to it, even though I have a sister who's a lesbian, and I found out my niece was gay.
Whoa! Does she play softball?
No, I guess so. I don't know.
Does she wear jean shorts? Does she
Man
tuck her
shoes.
shirt in? Does she tuck her shirt into her jean shorts and wear a belt?
I guess so. I don't know.
Okay.
So
With
if
tennis
you're
shoes, with tennis shoes and white socks.
yeah,
Yeah, but to say I
I don't mean
understand,
to stereotype lesbians.
yeah, I don't either. But to say I understand,
does she have a mullet?
yes, a short haircut. But to say I understand what a transgender person goes through would be totally asinine of me.
No, I
Say what
I believe my
to
point
say how
was.
they-
I wish I
Yeah.
could speak. I wish I could
Okay.
just
Go
help
ahead.
you out. I wish I could just help you out just a little bit, but you
please,
won't let me.
please do.
I'm trying to help you out, but I don't think you want. I don't think you want my help. So
No,
I'm just
I
gonna.
want
He
your
wants
help.
to put
I want
his
your
foot in his mouth really far before he asks for help.
Yeah. I want his help.
And then he'll accuse us of backing him into a corner that he can't get out of. So
No, I
Yeah,
want the
isn't,
big man.
isn't that what happens? Like we keep trying to help him out, but he just keeps talking. About it.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Right.
so like take
Right.
the character Angel, who's a transgender female. She likes men. She's not a lesbian. She's
Mhm.
straight as a transgender female, right?
Because she identifies as a woman.
Yes,
And so she is not interested in women because then that would make her a
lesbian.
lesbian. But
yes.
she, as a woman, is interested in men.
So just
so
like
she's
she's
a
straight.
heterosexual.
So just
The
like
easiest thing, you know the easiest way to navigate this, Ronz,
Please tell me.
ask them.
is
No.
yeah. Go ahead. Just ask. Just
Are you
straight up
gay?
ask. No, it's not even that. The easiest thing to do is just don't make any assumptions on the sexuality of
Anybody.
anyone. No,
And I
one.
don't. I
Okay,
don't. And if
that's-
I
well,
do,
that's
I
the
keep
same
it
thing.
to
That's-
myself.
But you did make an assumption because you assumed that they were gay. But if you identify,
You asked me. I told.
You can say you don't know. That's an acceptable answer too.
Well, I thought, and the other thing is, I thought I knew. So this is where you school me.
well, we're
I'm
trying
willing to
but
learn.
we're still trying to, but you just keep talking. I can't say anything because you won't stop talking. No, you don't assume anything. Just like you don't assume when you see somebody who's not transgender. First of all, you're not going to know if they're transgender or not. Most of the time, I mean that was the only problem that I had with, and it's not a problem anyways. But the only problem I had with Pose is that they didn't make it obvious that these are transgender folks, because, like I said, the science was pretty poor back then. And you can see old. I mean, like I'm sure you could probably Google old pictures of people trying to live trans. That's why they sit there like, oh, did I get made? What do they call it? They had a term for it. Where if somebody would assume that they would say, "Did
She
you
got
get?
made.
Oh, you
Yeah.
could like you could pass. I could." So like, yeah, but you can pass. You can pass, and that's what they were saying. Like you look like a female. None of them don't look like females, in my opinion. I'm like they all look like. I'm like they could all pass, but that was a
Yeah.
real fear for them in the 80s and 90s and beyond. Before that, where it just looked like a guy, because one, who's helping them try to look feminine? You know, they're trying to steal mom's makeup and try it on for themselves and learn how to apply makeup and all these other things. So that's the only thing that I thought was,
Yeah,
and
and none
I
of
can
them.
understand why they, and you know why they did it, because nobody wants to watch a show with a bunch of people trying to obviously look like they're, transgender.
Yeah, like
So I'm sure that's why they did it.
you don't see any of their 5 o'clock shadow or their leg hair or any like darkened armpit.
Yeah, and
stuff. They all
the
look.
Swan and I
And
the
I
Swan
think-
and I have both had patients that are
Are
are men
transgender.
wearing wigs and female clothes.
And so I wonder if a part of it where when we got introduced to these characters, if they have already been living this life for a little while, if they've already had a mother who has already taken them in to like kind of teach them the way, because then there are moments when later in the show where you do see kids who are right off the street.
When we first see Blanca, she's got this terrible wig and
Yeah.
And she got shown how to be.
So
yeah. But that's
It's-
that's kind of the only one that we get. So I guess if you saw them, I guess outside this community where somebody hasn't taken them in, maybe it would be
right.
But then, like it's like anything else, you're going to have your own niche crowd that's going to watch the show anyway.
Yeah.
So that might be that's my only observation. Which it's such a small observation that it matters. It doesn't matter at all. So
Yeah. I kind of wish that they had like that type of community like in so many other places like around that time. Like it was very heavy in New York. I'm sure it was probably the same like out in California where people are a little bit more accepted, accepting. But like what if that would have been like here in Detroit or you know in places where
in the
it's not
South
accepted.
where it's not acceptable then at all?
Like what would that have done for people and their confidence and them becoming who they are, Like
It
I
would
was
have
talking
been
to
a
somebody
lot.
a little while ago, like as kids, like I was lied to a lot because everybody say like you can be whatever you want to be. But then it's like no, I can't, because if I introduce this side of me, you're going to try to talk me to be everything but that, because that's not accepted, So I can't say I want to be gay because that's not going to be accepted any and everywhere,
Did
So
you
then
try
get-
it all? Like, did you tell anybody or like try it out anywhere? Like, did you feel
when I was
comfortable enough?
younger with people my age, but not with anyone who was older.
Yeah, because
No.
like my friend, we knew since preschool that he was gay, but he didn't come out until high school. But all of us kids knew. Like he would be fine with. We played makeup and we did
Yeah.
our toenails and all that stuff that we knew it, and his parents just kind of ignored it and like, oh, you have a bunch of girlfriends. Will you hang out with girls?
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
So they deep down knew, but nobody wanted to accept it, I think, and they just let it go and didn't think anything of it. And they're like, oh, where's your girlfriends? And like they were saying his girlfriends, like they were his girlfriends, but not his girlfriends. So
Yeah. Same. And like the things that I was interested in as a kid was things that quote unquote were more feminine, like things that girls were interested in. Like I love to play with Barbies. I love to do their hair. I was great at
I like to
double
play with
dutch,
Barbies.
like
yeah, you were playing with Barbies in the opposite way of playing with Barbies. Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, the Beaveman.
He was touching their boobies and Tromondae was doing their hair.
The Beaveman would be the little boy
checking
who
out the
goes-
empty space between your legs.
the
He-Man
Beaveman
had
would
it
probably
too.
The
He
Beaveman would
was
be
in Lift Up.
the little boy who like walks into Victoria's Secrets and like stares at the mannequins and
Yeah.
touch their butts, knock them
It's
over.
I'm like Ralphie on A Christmas Story when his dad gets that leg lamp and he's like,
Yeah.
he touches the leg.
That's a
Oh, yeah.
classic.
Yeah, that's me. No, I guess my whole point was, Ronz, just don't assume. You just don't have to assume, because if you really want to get thrown for a loop, it gets
And
even
who doesn't?
funnier. Yeah, who gets even funnier? I had a patient who was a trans female, and you can't also assume that they all want their. I'm just going to use men. You can't assume that they all want sexual reassignment surgery, because some of them
Mhm.
don't.
Mm-hmm.
I had a patient who was he was a trans female, but his sexuality was lesbian. He liked, or she liked rather, women. And even though he is biologically a man, he identified as a lesbian because he lived as a woman who liked women. So that's why I say you can't just make an assumption. You can't assume. And if they want you to know, they'll tell you. If they don't want you to know, they won't. It's a little bit different for me medically, because medically, these are questions that I actually ask.
And you need to know to be able to treat them appropriately.
Yeah. I kind of need to know, because then I'm like, okay, what sexually, what health issues am I going to have to look for with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Well, in all honesty, I will agree with everything that you said. Right. Because I have worked with a transgender person. Right.
We believe that to be true.
That to be true.
No, it's.
I'm not sure I believe that to be. I'm not sure I believe that to be true.
I'm not making anything up here. I just never question their sexual orientation.
We don't have to.
But why would that even be relevant at work?
Well,
do you,
would you be quiet?
Do you know that, like,
would you just
it really
be quiet?
makes me know which way my package is going to go.
You need
a
ham puppet. You need a ham puppet.
I might.
You might. I'm
May
agreeing
I
with
recommend
you.
that you name your hand puppet Mr. Throbinson?
Ooh.
I'm trying to say you're right, and I may have these inner questions or these inner dialogues with myself.
Don't open your mouth, Ronz. That is
just, exactly. I don't open my mouth.
Good answer.
Because I treat the person as a human being and nothing more than that. No transgender questions whatsoever. They identify as one thing with the name, and that's all I left it at. Now, my inner monologue wants to ask all the questions and all the statements you said.
Well, that's okay. So, in that regard, what you need this is what you need. This is what all men need. And
why does it have to be just men?
Because I'm a man, and I'm telling you from a personal experience as a man. I'm not a woman, so I can't tell you.
You know what? I love how Tromondae smiles when you say you are a man.
I am. No, listen, shut the fuck up so I can tell you in my opinion, what all men need.
Look at him smile away.
In my opinion, what all men need as part of their armamentarium. If you
go, Beaveman.
Shut up, Ronz. Jeez.
All men need a gay male friend. If you don't have one of those, I pity you.
I think
Why do you
all
say
women
that?
need a gay male friend too.
Okay, you're a woman.
So I can say
and
that.
I'm speaking from a man's perspective.
Okay.
That's all I said was all men need a gay male friend.
Why do you think all men should have a gay male friend?
Well, for one
I was going to ask that question, but I'm glad you did.
Well, you can still ask a question, Ronz. It's okay.
Oh no, because you'll berate me, but you won't berate Tromondae.
But you got to be selective on your gay male friend based on your own personal interests.
So, are you interested in a certain gay male?
That's not what I said. What I said is you have to be selective on your pick. In other words, I would pick. Well, Tromondae is my gay male friend. I would pick Tromondae over my other gay male friend that I had because Tromondae dresses well. Tromondae is not what I consider feminine. And so he's more of my pick. Now, I have had a gay male friend who was feminine, and I thought he was too feminine. And not only was he too feminine, he was also inappropriate a lot.
Yeah, so
Like,
In what way?
you want a
Towards
gay
me.
male friend
And I don't
who wants
want-
to be
that's
your
not what I
friend.
wanted.
You don't want a gay male friend who hits on you because he secretly deep down wants you. That's
Yeah,
a different
that's-
type of scenario.
Yeah.
You want a gay male friend with your fashion interest and to be your friend.
Well, it's not even my
you-
fashion interest. It's my. Hey, would this look good?
Yes,
Come on, would
yes.
this look-
That
Come
would
on,
be your fashion interest.
No, it's not my
No,
fashion
no.
interest. It's is this a wise
Does it-
choice?
yes.
Tremondae?
He wants fashion advice from, not a gay male
Wonders-
friend who secretly wants
Yeah.
him. I think that's kind of like even being a female having guy friends, because you can have your female having a guy friend, but some of them secretly want you, so that makes it inappropriate too. So it goes both ways. Or you can have your gay male friend who's your gay male friend, but then don't you think it goes the other way? Like that woman wants to turn the gay male friend into their boyfriend, and that doesn't work very well. So
Maybe, but I think you're right though. I think that see, this is
it's just about being friends.
You're saying as you're saying as a woman, you're like you also need a gay male friend.
I do.
Because you'll bother Tremondae about you need to go shopping together. You'll bother him about stupid shit.
I told him I
But
wanted
but
him
you
to
would
teach
rather-
me to walk
you
in
would rather-
heels.
But you would rather do that than hang out with a woman. to
Yeah.
go shopping with.
So
Yeah.
let's flip the
Because
script
most
here.
women, because
So-
let's be honest, a lot of women have terrible taste in clothes.
And they're
So-
bitches. They're deep down bitches. They're like, yeah, that'll look good on you. They want to get it so that it looks like shit on you so that they look better.
So
Mm.
here's the
wearing
problem,
something.
though. Here's the problem,
So
though, Ronz.
basically, you just have to choose good friends. It doesn't matter if they're gay or straight. Just choose good
So-
friends.
Yeah, it does, because I said as a man, all men should have at least one gay male friend.
So should all gay males have one straight friend?
I think that they have a better chance of that happening anyway, organically,
Mhm.
because the
Ooh,
majority
there's
of
that
us,
word.
because the majority of us are straight. So more than likely, he's already going to have some.
Right.
Anyway,
So
as I was saying, the problem is, here's the problem though, is that my gay male friend is shared with a swan, which is not appropriate. He's supposed to be my gay male friend.
He's impartial, though. He can be both of our gay male
Well, then you
friends.
can fucking have him, as I've said before. If he
In the
doesn't
di-
pick me,
in
then
the
you can
divorce,
fucking have him.
no. Oh, that's so mean. He's trying to
Find someone else.
He's 50-50, both of ours. We can split him down the
Wait a
middle.
minute. So are you saying the gay male that we're talking about cannot be my friend as well?
No,
You're
you
not in
can't
the same
have him.
household.
You're not. Yeah, we're just saying
You're
in
not
the
in the same
divorce.
household.
In the divorce, who gets the Tremondae?
No,
But we
no,
both
it's okay.
get
It's
the Tremondae.
no,
but
it's okay
he's
for you to have him
saying
as a friend.
If
Shut up, Swan.
if we get divorced, Tremondae, he doesn't want you if you pick me.
Oh.
So that
That's true.
tells you
Oh.
your friendship right there. He's being
Oh.
willing to give you up. See, I would be willing to share you.
You know,
Well,
I
fuck
got
you,
to back
Swan.
Swan.
So I'm a
No,
better
no,
friend.
I got to back
Fuck
Swan
you,
on
Swan.
that. No, I'm going to back Swan on this because, as she said earlier, women be bitches, and it just sounds like she just tried to sabotage you.
No, I didn't. I said I'd be perfectly fine equally sharing the Tremondae.
Up
Yeah,
until
that's some
the divorce.
underhanded shit.
And
That's
Some
underhanded
underrated
shit right there.
He know that he was still having it. So, Beaveman, I'm interested.
no,
in
he would throw you
What?
away like used garbage if you chose me over.
Oh, now the claws come out.
Beaveman,
What do you think the benefits are for a straight male having a gay male friend outside of
Well,
fashion consultations?
because you have to learn some tolerance. You need to learn and you need to grow as a person.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't, then okay. So if you've got, I don't know if you run into this. I mean, and you will run into it because you have a little girl, you have a daughter, you have a little girl. She's going to tell you some of the outrageous bullshit things that her friends say.
Mm-hmm.
And where are they learning those behaviors? They're learning them directly from their parents. And that's the same thing I tell baby Swan when she tells me some of the shit that some kids say. I'm like, that's bad parenting. That's a direct reflection of their parent. That's not something that they learn on their own at this age. That's a direct reflection of what their parents say and what their parents do. And if you if you're not willing to grow as a person, then it's not helping society at all. And we're just going to keep being this same rut over and over again.
True.
When I was in the Army, and I've told this story before, I'm like, statistically, I had to know people who were gay. I had to.
If you're around that many
I
men.
served with all men. I knew, hundreds of men. there had to be people that were gay, but you wouldn't know it. And so you wouldn't have been tolerant of it if you did know it, more than likely.
Because when you were in the military, you didn't talk about it. Now they're allowed to talk about it, and it's encouraged for you to talk about it, right?
I don't know. I'm not in.
Well,
but the
that's
point
what
is,
people are saying.
The point is, I spent those years being pretty intolerant of something because I wasn't exposed to it. But the more you're exposed to something, then the more you have an open mindscape, and you can actually learn something.
True.
But but mostly it's just my selfishness that I'm like, no, I've got to have one to for some levity and for evening out my moods and
someone to talk you off your ledge.
Somebody talk me off my ledge. Yeah, pretty much. Not to be so angry at the world.
So, Beaveman, when you were in the military,
shut up. When you have a guy friend, when you raise your hand, Ronz, I'm still talking. When you have two guys, okay, if you have two guys who are just straight up guys, and I've told Swan this before, one of them immediately is the dominant personality.
Mm-hmm.
And so you are, whether you want to be or not, you're always in competition with each other in some way.
And you agree with each
It's
other.
not like that. It's not like that if your one friend is gay.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I always have to be more manly than Tromondae and exert my dominance over him like it's $2 in a room.
Yeah.
Now that might be insulting to Tromondae. You might find that insulting, but it's true.
No, because I agree with you. And like if you're two guys hanging out as guys and you had a fight with your girlfriend, you'd be like, yeah, she's a fucking bitch. Yep, she's a bitch. And there's nobody to talk you off your ledge of, hey, do you think maybe she might be right on some points?
No, that part I don't like. No? That part I don't like about Tromondae.
You don't
he
like
just
that
needs
part?
to agree with me.
No,
that's
you
why
want to be like, yeah, Swan's a bitch. Yeah, she's a bitch.
And he's like, no, you should see it from her point of view. No, Tromondae.
Well, that's why you have your gay best friend.
Wrong. You're wrong, Tromondae. Let me find one of my other friends.
Who's going to say, yes, Swan's a bitch.
The Beaveman is also the same for me. It's like when I'm in your presence, I also don't have to show up being overly masculine, being something that I am not, so it also benefits me as well to be able to go into a space and not have to prove.
And you get to be real.
That I'm a quote unquote man, So,
Tromondae, knowing you personally, I've never known you to be anything less than tolerable. You've been so mellow, especially when we all get into a heated argument.
Have to deal with you. I mean,
yeah, you're the only one.
Has the patience of a saint.
He goes into
he does.
Role there. He's like, oh, I know. Oh, poor autistic Ronz with his dyslexia.
Oh, yeah.
I can tolerate him.
Let's talk about you two.
Inclusion.
Yeah, let's talk about you two when you were arguing. I looked over at Tromondae, and he was just calm through that entire storm. I'm like, he should have been a counselor. I mean, a marriage counselor. A marriage counselor. I think he would have saved a lot of marriages. And with some fashion taste, too.
Thank you.
And he's a great hugger from what you guys tell me.
Tromondae does give good hugs.
Although I will say this about the Ronz, though, also, with my friendship with the Ronz. Ronz is also unique because, not like he's a gay male, but I don't feel like that with Ronz either. Like, Ronz and I don't have to, I don't know if Ronz feels that way, but I don't feel like Ronz and I are trying to dominate each other in manliness.
Only on the podcast.
But with all my other male friends, it always is this underlying competition. Ronz and I don't have that, which is interesting. I've never really noticed that till now. I'm like, oh, I've never noticed that. But that's true, actually, of me and Ronz also.
Maybe that means you're real friends. Maybe that means you're real friends.
Yeah, that could have a lot to do with you as well, Beaveman.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So
what friend do you have to do that with?
All my other male friends.
Like an example, how do you mean? Like, you don't have to name names, but just how does that work? I don't understand that. Maybe I do take that dominant role on my friends. Do you think I do? Because do women do that too?
I don't know. I imagine they probably.
I feel like they probably
I think
do.
It's different. I think that women try to insult each other. I think the women are always tearing each other down. That's how they make themselves bigger. Men, it's always like, oh man, okay. I'll use this young man that I've been chatting with. We've been talking about hunting. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, I got this giant buck. I'm like, hey, good for you, dude. I got this doe. Like, and he's like, well, here's the pictures of all the other bucks I've got over the years. And I don't think he's trying to say, well, I did this and I did that. But for me, at my age now, I'm like, oh, good for you. And like the last one he sent me a picture of was one he just got. Instead of, I said, that's really cool. I said, but you know what? I might have let him live because he was such a badass buck. I'm like, you kind of want those genes to be spread to the other deer to keep having like really awesome deer. But it's this inadvertent one-upsmanship. You know, he's going to send me a picture of his gun. I'm going to send him a picture of my gun, not the metaphorical gun, an actual gun.
Yeah, I guess.
And
It's
But
something
do you
that-
think
it's
that
a-
you
it's a
grow
role
out
that
of
you
that?
too.
No, it's a role that you automatically just kind of fall into. Even with me and like the guys that I do jujitsu with, we kind of one up each other on stuff all the time. But it might not be something that's super manly. It might be like, oh, I saw this movie. Oh yeah, well, I saw this movie. Did you see this movie? Do you know who that actor is? It's just this weird thing that you do all the time. It's kind of exhausting.
So that's why you want to hang out with Tromondae. It's not exhausting.
So, going back to what I really wanted to ask, because I raised
Ronz
my
is
hand.
not exhausting either.
No. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Good. Okay, go ahead, Ron.
When you were in the military, did you know personally any gay people?
No.
He already said no.
Say, I did.
I'm sure
No,
I
no.
did, but did I know they
No,
were
no,
gay?
no,
No.
No, I did.
So
And
they told you, hey, I'm gay?
yeah,
And they said, I think that they probably told him so that he would know right away that they were not interested.
Probably.
well,
Just so you know.
Well, they told him because they saw how he used to handle the big hoes.
Yeah, they wanted them to be interested. They were hitting on you, Ronz. You missed it.
well, the only that was during just before the don't ask, don't tell routine, and the one question I always asked him was, "Did you do your job?" Yeah. You signed up on the bottom line like I did to defend the Constitution.
Did you really
and all
think
that.
they wanted
Yes.
his opinion? That's my big question.
Well, I wanted to. I
Did
wanted
they ask
to
for your
know.
opinion? I just want to know.
Yeah, they did. Because when they came out to me, I had that one thing saying, "Did you do what you wanted to do? Did you sign up on the line? Did you do your job?" Yeah. So your personal life, your sexuality, never had anything to do with what you were actually doing in the military.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't wrap my head around why there was this big homophobic attitude in the military, especially when I went overseas, where the Netherlands,
Because it
they
gave
accepted
everybody something to have camaraderie about when everybody was like, yeah, fucking faggots. Like that they just, hey, dumb bitches. You know, everybody had to agree on something, right? Isn't that how the military is? You guys all agree on something like, ooh, she's a whore. Yeah, fucking whore. Like, that's just another military thing.
Yeah, probably.
So,
yeah, I'll probably go
bashing
with that.
gays or whatever was just part of that. Like, oh, he's a dickhead.
For the record, I
yeah,
never
he's a dick.
bashed
I'm
a
just
gay. I
just
don't think you know what
saying.
that term means.
Okay, well,
Yeah, neither did I.
just, you know, having something mean to say about somebody. That's what you do
Yeah.
in the belittling and whatever. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
if you're gay
it's
or
exactly
whatever.
Exactly what the B-men said.
It is a hive mind mentality.
Okay, yeah,
It
there you
is.
go. I knew there was some word for it.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to ask one. Oh, speaking of which, this is really funny. I don't know which comedian it is. I apologize, but he sit there and he asked the audience. He's like, yeah, you know how everybody always gets together and when men drink, they always have that question like, dude, would you let another dude suck your dick? And how much would you for $1 million? And everybody's always like, no. And he said, first of all, what makes you think any gay dude is going to give you $1 million to suck their dick when, one, you don't know how to do it, and they could get their dick sucked by another gay dude who's going to do a better job than you for free. No one's going to come up to you and offer you $1 million to suck their dick.
Yeah.
It's like Ron White's routine when he tries to prove that his friend is gay. He says, I'm not gay. He's like, when you watch porn, do you prefer the male performer to have a thick, big cock or flaccid? He goes, big, thick, aha.
Yeah, I just heard that routine not too long ago. It's a good one. It's a funny one.
That was hilarious.
Did you ever hear one where he talks about the bidet?
No.
And he's like,
Yeah.
he's like, yeah. He's like, I thought it was gross until I used it. And he's like, oh yeah. And he's like, the bidet is great. He's like, I don't remember how many million gay men. He's like, they can't be wrong. He's like, they can't be wrong. Anyway, nice weird turn.
On that note, get yourself a bidet, folks.
I know, I totally want one. I really, really want one. Anyway, all right. Well, that's it for me. Ronz didn't do what we told him to do, and that's just fine. Because all I really wanted to know was two things. Did he find them attractive? And if so, which one did he find the most attractive? Oh, I didn't ask the Swan. Swan.
I like Angel. If I was going to be a lesbian, I'd pick Angel.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But would you be mad at her all the time because she's so thin?
Yeah. No, I'd try to be.
Let me ask a dick question now. Let's say you decided that you were going to go that route and you picked Angel. Now, Angel is what she says is statuesque. Would you just full on softball player lesbian yourself out and be like, fuck it, then I'm going to gain like 40 fucking pounds?
No.
And start talking.
No.
I'm making so many lesbians mad right now because I'm stereotyping lesbians right now. Would you get a full on mullet?
No, I'd try to be hot like her. I'd be like her hot white girl. I'd be her hot white girl.
But you wouldn't be mad that she's thin because you wouldn't be always like, oh, I got to get thinner. I got to get thinner.
No, I'd be the buff hot white girl, and she.
I don't think that would happen. That's not what I think would happen. I think you would full on softball it.
No. You're dumb. and wear like.
You can't have two hot ones.
Sports t-shirts and Crocs.
Yep, Crocs. Exactly. The white calf socks that are dirty.
Basketball shorts.
No, not basketball. You got to wear the big jean shorts, the ones that go way far down, and that are like really have the big gut in front that comes out the fupa. Yeah, and then wear the belt that's too long, so
maybe a fanny
kind of like
pack.
Ronz's belt. You know how like Ronz's belt.
I could throw some clothes from Ron's closet.
You probably could. Yeah, that's what I think would happen.
No,
I would. Well, Ronz, you got to at least watch a couple shows so we know which one you think is hot. And you don't have to think any of them are hot. You can just, it's okay. That's okay too.
Okay.
Because people are going to listen to this and go, what the fuck is wrong with you? But if you didn't know what the show was about and you just you got to watch it on without any dialogue, you had to watch it muted. As a man, you'd probably go,
these ladies are hot. Yeah.
What's going on with this chick? It's true. I could pick some very specific clips, and people would be like, "Dang, what's going on there?"
Yeah.
A little sad though that the Swan didn't know what my pick was, but that's okay.
Well, I kind of thought her, but you
didn't even mention her. You didn't even say her.
Yeah, because she's like a not main character to me. I don't know. She is.
I didn't say I was going to have a full-on meaningful relationship with her because that wouldn't be. She's not smart enough for me.
That's why I didn't pick her.
She's not smart.
Yeah, that's why I didn't pick her. That's why I picked Electra.
I see. All right. Well, that's it for me. It's been a fun conversation, but
Ronz's phone's ringing.
Mostly because once again, Ronz disappointed us. Thanks, Ronz.
Ronz, look at me! Ronz!
What is going on there?
Answer it, Ronz.
He still doesn't know how to use it. He doesn't know how to use it. It's fine.
It's his alarm.
It's okay.
Telling him to take
time to take your meds.
Naps.
No. Time to take your meds. Ronz. Time to take your Aricept.
I really wish this is an important
text
phone call
from work. He's on call for those important packages. All right.
Take a package in the face.
From the Swan.
Time for Ronz to take a package in the face, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah, no, I just got the news. I'm so sorry. This was it's been a hell of a surreal day. So I'll explain later. So we'll see how everything goes.
¿Usted es triste?
Ooh, he says yes.
And I hope everybody had
muy triste.
Usted es muy triste.
Oh, he wants a Monte Cristo.
Yeah, I want a Monte Cristo. What
All right,
the hell is a Monte Cristo?
Say the fuck goodbye, Ronz. Say goodbye. Oh, Swan already said goodbye. Say goodbye.
Oh, and from the Ronz, thank you for everybody. For being tolerant of everybody.
Shut up, Ronz, just say goodbye.
Except the Swans. From the Ronz, hey. Jamadi, you got the last word.
No, he doesn't.
Deuces.
And that's it for me, folks. From the Beaveman. Adios. Mooch fuckos.